just product or an app, right? It's more of a brand that merchants kind of genuinely love. On the show, we go behind the scenes with the builders and teams shaping the Shopify ecosystem. Today, I'm joined by Emili Horncastle, leading store pickup and local delivery apps on the Shopify App Store.
We are geeks, but we're very emotional geeks because we literally try to put our energy and our heart on our company. It's okay to be different. You can be emotional, you can be bold. A celebration of 10 years of a user and a builder.
Hello everyone and welcome to the SaaS Hub Podcast. And this is the Shopify App Founders Edition, Season 1. I'm your host, Yuvraj Kevte, the founder of the SaaSHub.com. It's an independent platform that curates the top 10 Shopify apps in every category, helping merchants, agencies, and founders discover the very best tools to grow their business. On the show, we go behind the scenes with the builders and teams shaping the Shopify ecosystem, the people building the tools that power global commerce. Today, I'm joined by Emili Horncastle, co-founder and chief marketing officer at Zapiet, the team behind Zapiet Pickup and Delivery app, one of the leading store pickup and local delivery apps on the Shopify App Store. Zapiet helps merchants of every size manage pickup, delivery, and shipping seamlessly. Over the years, they've expanded into a full suite of 6 apps that keeps merchants connected to their customers locally and globally. I actually met Emili and her co-founder Andrew at a ShopQuest event in India a couple of months back, and it was such fun, candid chat about the Shopify ecosystem, community, and even the local culture that we have. They also gave me their mascot, Zapietousaurus. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. The friendly dragon. Not only me, but my 3-year-old daughter basically kind of adopted it. She goes everywhere with her. Emili is not just a marketing leader, she is also a creative force, from launching Zapietousaurus to sponsoring artists and supporting local events globally. She's found truly out-of-the-box ways to keep Zapiet brand warm, human, and fun. We're going to talk about all of that in the show soon. From product storytelling to community building and how it all ties into the Shopify partner ecosystem. So let's jump in. Hey Emili, good to finally have you here. It's really been a while since we met in Bangalore and I've been looking forward to this chat forever. How are things going on with Zapiet lately?
Yeah, it's going brilliantly. Thank you so much for having me. I was very excited for this and obviously bring up that energy of like being in India and being so welcomed by you guys. So I'm very happy to be here today.
Awesome. I was just going through your LinkedIn and noticed that you are a huge Adele fan and you recently went to the Candlelight Tribute to Adele event a couple of days back. How was the overall experience?
Oh my God, it was amazing. So we were on the Westminster Methodist Church Hall, and then it has like one of the biggest organs in the whole of the world as well. Like the place was beautiful, the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic, and obviously the company was also great because I managed to take my co-founder, is also my husband. So it was brilliant. It was a quartet of chords. I'm absolutely fascinated about classic music as well. And then Adele with that, absolutely amazing. It was like my break away from the screens, from the chords and from the phone. It was brilliant.
Awesome. Coming back to Zapiet, I always felt, even before I personally knew you guys, I've been in the ecosystem since early 2015, first as a merchant myself and then joined Shopify ecosystem as a seller. I always felt Zapiet actually has a unique human sorts of personality. It's not just product or an app, right? It's more of a brand that merchant kind of genuinely love. For anyone listening who might not be aware, I'm sure everyone knows it, but how would you describe Zapiet in your own words?
Wow, that's a very big question, but I'm going to try to make it short. Obviously, Zapiet build apps, advanced apps for Shopify merchants. We are actually pioneers on App Store. We invented our categories. So before us developing store pickup and delivery, inventory management, blackout dates, there was no other developer doing that. This back in 2015.
Right.
And because obviously both myself and my co-founder, we have previous experiences with also my co-founder was also a founder from data company, from an agency as well, building websites for the world of e-commerce and retail. And obviously you can imagine how it was like everything back then, like we're talking about roughly 17 years ago, where everything was monolith, everything was like very like ancient. So obviously we came in the route of like discovering Shopify back in 2014, where we're like, okay, these guys are doing much better than everything that we have available. And then when we met, we was like, okay, I'm a supply chain specialist as well. I work my life with technology for supply chain, and then in a word of retail, high luxury fashion. So that's why we try to have like this very human side that you can see on our company in general, because we're both very like, we're geeks, but we're very emotional geeks. So it was a good like match, I would say, on the two of us being co-founders, because we literally try to put our energy and our heart on our company, on our brand, and then we try to make the best that we can to represent all of this energy that we have on us onto our products, because it's, again, so challenging to have intangible products and then try to emotionally connect with. So this is what we're trying to be doing since the start, try to marry the technology side with the users, with, again, like, we're driven by energy, where like every single person that comes and have opened their business on Shopify, either if it's a small merchant or either if it's a big merchant, it always have like this hungering side of the success, and this feeling needs to be translated by real people that use the technology behind, the people that are the developers that are working on it, everyone that the technology makes it be together. So it needs to be emotional, happy, because we're connecting so many people by using the technology that we create.
Now, wow, awesome. I mean, to be very honest, local delivery is such a critical piece of a merchant workflow, right? I mean, local delivery and pickup can literally make and break a customer's experience if you're a brand who works a lot of in your local region. And then you guys have literally built a great reputation on being a dependable app that just plain and simple works in all the way possible. Now, let's talk about local commerce for a bit, right? I mean, it's growing fast, but it's also deeply personal, right? Every merchant running a local delivery business knows how emotional the last mile connection is. How has Zapiet involved with this kind of movement?
So for us to try to I think, again, like, we need to go again back a little bit. When we were building actually the app, we had a very great connection with the particular merchant. So we were actually building the app and then having feedbacking from this merchant directly. So obviously this gave us like an unparalleled vision of like how important every single piece of the process it was for, having the precision on the delivery time, and then I think that what we discovered very early when we were building the app, because it couldn't just be like a delivery manager and just a pickup manager with time slots. It needed to also have the blackout dates, the preparation time. It needed to have much more else where the merchants needed to it could manage, and then obviously teach their staff as well to manage all the timing to fit the expectations of the consumers and also their operation, because obviously our apps are incredibly specific right now. Like I would call flagship app in-store pickup and delivery, it's a very big product. It's almost like its own ERP. What's crazy, but the reason why you get to that point was literally listen back to the merchant to understand what do they need to manage their operation. So the app goes much more above and beyond than just like enable delivery. They can manage so much else inside. They can get like all the production reports, and then preparing their staff on the shop floor, on the production. Or I have like a very good example that I like to give. That's our merchants on the fresh food industry. Like, we have a lot of farmers, and for them, is so important if they want to, for example, provide super fresh, like, picked from the farm to table. To make that in an effective way, they really need to be sure that, okay, if they are offering pickups, that they are not offering pickups with like 10 hours, of like a gap between picking up the lettuce, like just give an example of lettuce, picking a lettuce out of the farm and then just like being available for pickup. It needs to be less time. You need to make sure as well that they enable more time for the who is picking the lettuce as well. It's to have enough time to pick enough for not giving too many slots, to selling too much, and then not having enough time to pick all the lettuces that they need that they are selling it. It's a very sensitive and close to heart. So then I think that's why we try to build the most advanced options and managerial options for our merchants. It was because we understood the sensibility of how they are dealing with the product, how much they love it, and how much work they had, in this case for the farmers, to plant, to go to trouble with weather, to then be able to like successfully sell it and then to collect it and leave either available for pickup or for delivery. It's much else. I think if people don't see the technology beyond of what actually do, I think developers are making a mistake. You should definitely see what lies above, and beyond of the functionality that you enable a merchant to operate and then do its best and offer the best service for the customer, and also respect what's close to their heart with that production and all the products.
No, exactly. I think local delivery is not just about logistic. It's more or less like building that trust at a neighborhood level. And I think, as you rightly said, Zapiet's success really comes from how human the product feels. It's literally like you have designed the products with merchants and not just for them.
Exactly. It's not just like the fun of our side, because obviously we are engineers, like myself and my co-founder, we are absolutely geeks. We love to be the head in the codes. We love like building, but it needs the first place fits what the merchant needs. And there's no other way that you're going to like achieve that without like being close to the merchants. And we are happy to say that there's like, we actually flying to Malaysia tomorrow, and you're gonna meet our first ever merchant that is being with us for 10 years. So, like they become friends, their business grow with our business as well. And for us, it's so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling that they had this trust with us, that we managed to build as well a product that was as robust that they can manage to grow that business as well. And us like having this, the timing was right. Obviously, we gave all of us as well in terms of building, but we managed to build everything that they need as well while they were growing that business. And they went from a pop-up store to 3 stores and an online operation that distributes this. Is located in North America. The name of the brand is Boutique 1861. It's one of the very cool, pioneer, very fashionable brands in Canada, and we are so proud to be able to like build the technology that was enabled as well for them to grow in this way, and for us to grow as well. I think the trust on that, it's something fantastic. So tomorrow, Malaysia, to go to see them. It's a celebration of 10 years of a user and a builder.
That's really awesome that you being in a place where you can now go and actually physically meet merchants, and you have been a part of their growth journey for the last 10 years. I mean, that's not just growth, it's kind of like building relationship and growing together, right? As partners. So that's really amazing.
Yeah, we are good friends. We met them. They didn't have a kid. Now they have a kid, and it's such a cool journey. And I feel a little old now.
No, awesome. Now, Zapiet have expanded far beyond one app, right? I mean, the pickup and delivery app definitely is one of your flagship apps, but you also have other apps which complements pickup and delivery app beautifully. Tell us a bit more about, the entire product suite and how it's actually grown and what goes behind, whether it's just gonna be one feature for Zapiet or maybe a independent app altogether.
So the how our apps was growing a type of switch. So we understood, for example, because the store pickup and delivery is so robust, and then because of its robust, it has a cost. And then we understood there was some demographics, some different countries that they needed solving specific issues. I can talk about, for example, delivery rates by zip code. That's one of our apps as well, that it was born on the switch after in-store pickup and delivery. Like for example, in Ireland, they have the situation with the ear codes where they need what's equal postcodes. So what they need the precise postcode location, so then they could route their deliveries and then limited on this and limited the deliveries onto specific zones. This was born because of obviously feedback from our merchants, and we understood, okay, if this is like a functionality that merchants need in this specific use case, we won't just adapt this functionality inside the store pickup and delivery because it's already its own monster. So it's already its own dragon. So we need to then build the new dragon, build the different apps to just go and then fulfill these specific needs. And then the users didn't need to compromise with an app that's very architecture-wise speaking. It's an app that's a lot of functionalities to set up, so they could like compromise with something that's a bit more simple that could fulfill their needs and also be into the family, the Zapiet family of software. So this is how our suite of apps started growing, was by listening again to feedback from merchants. They explained to us why they need this, and then we need to then make this product roadmap decision of understanding if this is going to be a feature that you're going to be built on store pickup and delivery, or if you're going to launch the app has its own, so then more people can just use that to solve that specific issue. And mostly this is the whole story: product roadmap, new apps. It's all absolutely built by like us being spoon-fed by our merchants, and we being with like the ears bigger than Dumbo, you know, by listening to them and then making sure that we like drawing like that our teams and our priorities, understanding how many people is impacted by this feature not existing, and then coming back to obviously engineering decision to put this in our product roadmap and then get building. This is not for us. There's not any other way. Obviously, we do a very engaged on international research. We are present in 150 countries. It means that 150 challenges of buckets of how solutions integrate and operate. That's why we're everywhere the entire time, because we want to make sure that we are also overviewing on those countries that use our solution, that we have the right integrations, that we have the right partners to deliver their needs, that we are checking out on how they operate locally, and then making sure that we're adapting the language, that we're adapting the way that they use the payment systems, because it varies so much by country, and keeping the eye with this is field research 100%, and feeding this field research has all back into a product team, has all an excitement by building on our feedback from merchants and adding those to our product roadmap. And then I'm always excited, you know, we have Zapietousaurus again, and then the way that we communicate visually, I'm always excited to like when we're gonna have a new dragon, when we're gonna have a new icon, and then so it's like it's a new dragon, a new app. So it's always exciting for us. The team's always excited as well every time that we're gonna have a new app. Like, okay, what color is going to be? You know, like just exciting for like having merchandise and then seeing the beautiful UX, nice and slick with the very nice switch of colors. So
No, I think that's literally awesome, and that's the smartest kind of growth, right? I mean, staying in lane but deepening the overall impact, and I feel that's what making the overall Zapiet ecosystem quietly like the local go-to OS for Shopify. I think that's just amazing. We really need to talk about your creative genius, right? I mean, I don't know how you come up with these ideas, but it's not just about building a great product, but it's also about giving it a human personality. I think you have done things most SaaS companies wouldn't even think of, like the Zapietousaurus mascot, the blue ones, the pink ones. Tell us the story behind it. Like, how did a dragon became your mascot? Why you wanted to introduce a mascot? No one has done it in Shopify so far, at least as far as my knowledge goes. Would love to know the story behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for the compliment, creative genius. I'm thrilled to hear that.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's so heartwarming. Thank you so much. It's great for me. Like, this feels very rewarding. I think again, like, it goes back a little bit to this fearlessness, I would say, to trying to design and then bringing, in this specific case, a mascot to our brand. it came up of like this lack of way of how to connect with the user, because a lot of like in the beginning, like we would do like a lot of like store visits, and then people like, oh my god, I can't believe you guys behind there. And then people say like, oh, you guys are so exciting, bubbly, like, you know, I wish I knew you guys more or knew before. And I was like, okay, so we need to find a way of how can we connect the energy that we have as a person, this personality that we have, that we wish to, like, you know, the enthusiasm about the technology and the enthusiasm about, like, you know, selling things and creating things, because ultimately this is something that both myself, Andy, and the entire team are very excited about. It's about create. How do we translate this? And Zapiet has, by being a British company, all like our iconography from our branding comes from the British inspiration. And by that point, we had already made a lot of inspiration by the Union Jack, England. We had some iconography, and then it was missing Wales. And then I was like, okay, so well, we need a mascot. It's missing Wales. What are we gonna do? I'm very obsessed with like antiques, and every time that I go like for creating something, I'm someone that likes touching. Like I love the books and magazines. I'm constantly buying them. I'm quite of old school. I like touching things, because if you're touching things, you are creating emotional connection, and the sensory market that we talk so much about it. And then I started doing like a little folder of like, okay, inspiration, what is going to be a robot, it's going to be, you know, initially I thought about like more mechanic things, but if this is what we want to try to like go away from it, I said I needed something that it doesn't exist. And then obviously I already initially had the inspiration of what I want to based on, it was like on a Welsh flag that has a dragon, but I felt like we can't just invent a dragon, you know, it would feel that just something out of the Welsh flag. I don't want it to be so literal. I was in London when I had this like creative task, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow my formula that I always do. Let's go to museums, let's see old things that people have already done, what I can be inspired, you know, because there's a lot on Pinterest, and I think this is an advice for everyone that's creating something in today's world. Right. There's a lot of things that has already been done in the past that aren't filterable. They are not in the internet, maybe in a catalog from a museum, but then very hard to access. So if you go and pick it up inspiration from the past, you're most likely to succeed in something that's more innovative than just a research on the internet on Pinterest. Exactly. And then I went to the Natural History Museum of London, and then I saw like an animatronics of a T-Rex, and I was like, that's so, imagine like going back on time, if like a T-Rex could fly, how terrifying it was going to be. Yeah. And I was like, but how about if it's cute? And then this is the idea of like designing then a Dino Dragonsaurus. This is what I call the Zapietousaurus is. You can really see, I think I have one here that I can show you. Oh, like I'm destroying everything, but I can pick this up. He has like a little T-Rex hands, right. But you know, like a dragon features with the wings and all the scales and obviously the little face, but then there's the teeth. The teeth isn't 100% the reference from the T-Rex. And then you can see here, there's the little Union Jack here on the little foot. And
it's not on the smaller ones.
The smaller ones in the side. Yeah. It was too tiny on the smaller ones, like, and then you go back to like technical product development, right. Because then we go into different journeys, and then we go into product development. But like for physical products, what excites us a lot, because I love touching the materials and understanding like, oh, how are you gonna feel if I hug it? You know, it needs to be comfy, it needs to be cute, it needs to be like kids friendly, and there's like a lot of little like Easter eggs to find, like the little here. It's very cute, but basically the journey was this one, was trying to create a mascot where I would be also excited to like obviously fulfill the side of myself of being also a fashion designer, so I could create products and do beautiful merchandise. I think this goes back on a little bit more of like the mapping what's the intent of how your brand wants to be. It is do you want your brand to expand to have like a lot of capabilities of making merchandise? So maybe just a little logo, it's not enough for you to create cute products, or maybe it's not enough for you to create very nice merchandise. Or you can create merchandise, but then you're gonna be feeling that's missing a connection or an identity. And obviously we manage with Zapietousaurus to be very close with the British iconography as well, because he's very recognizable, and we're happy to say that now he's becoming its own thing. So next year we're launching the brand, Zapietousaurus, the brand, with pajamas. We're gonna have coloring books. We're gonna have like also video game. He's became its own thing by people that nothing to do with the Shopify, liking him so much that now we is starting to sell the products, has its own brand. This is
I
like
hope you have already booked the domain name, because after this podcast, probably people will go for it right away.
yes, we do.
Awesome, awesome. No, I think that's why I was saying like creative genius, right? No one was thinking around it, and over a period of time, it's no longer just a mascot. And even before you were planning to share, you guys are actually creating a entire brand around it. I was actually going to ask like if you are actually planning to sell the Zapietousaurus merch and all. I think that's one creative stroke of genius. You guys also do something very differently, which I don't see other brands are doing in the ecosystem. Again, it's like sponsoring artists, collaborating with singers and artists, working with community and so on. Can you also touch upon that, so that our listeners who are Shopify app founders probably could take more inspiration, find out more creative way of how they can not only just build an iconic brand, but kind of become the part of the community that they operate in?
Yeah, I think for us was always important. I think it's this artistic side of into ourselves as well that we want to be fulfilled, because obviously we are in our computers the entire time building. We spend a lot of time away from people. Well, it's something that we don't want to lose, this connection of being connected with people and trying to understand how do then people see us. You were in our party in Toronto. Were you in our party in Toronto in the 10 years anniversary? I think you were.
No, I was
Am
wrong.
I missing it? But like on our party this year, we set a challenge as well for different artists to reinterpret Zapietousaurus. Like we really wanted to see like, okay, how does different artists that do like, we had an artist that was did like images with like was a sustainable with like leaves that printed with sun. We had this street artist, we had like a sculpture, we had like many different artists, because we wanted to see how does different artists see our mascot in their own eyes, how is their interpretation of it, and it's just fulfilling. And then engaging with the community is it's a way I would say for us to be more human, because we spend a lot of time into our computers and we really need to be close to reality and try to support and help out as well, because I do think there's like a lot of different problems in the world that needs a little support. And this is what I usually say to like the community when people ask us like, oh, why do you support like the Santa Run? Is like the second year that we've been supporting it. Is the brilliant cause. It puts the community together. Is winter here in the UK. People need like activities to be together and have fun, and then you can see the whole town. The energy of the town is just something amazing. So I think support initiatives like that, especially for a fundraising that's for cancer research, where it's obviously unfortunate disease that sometimes a lot of people that we know is being affected. I think it's a mission and a half, and people sometimes say like, oh, but you're supporting this cause and then not supporting that cause. And then we always used to say, if every company do a little bit, the world would have been much better, because obviously we need to do what fits our size, of what fits our capabilities. But if every company do a little bit for charity, or supporting a different cause, or even like competitions in universities to incentivize the students, this is so important. I was as well like a kid that was very enthusiastic when I was studying. I was a very geek. I was like very into cryptography when I was like 10 years old. So, and I was very incentivized by my teachers at school. They knew that I was very interested on that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to bring you a different book. A lot of like initiatives as well from like community halls with dance classes, with different things. And I feel that this is something that an influence that some companies can make in a community that's priceless.
Right.
That kids in the community are going to have like that has a reference for their future. That's something good that it might be very little, that you can do a huge impact on it. And then we felt that every time that we can do something like this, we'll be involved and we will support and highly incentivize as well other developers are doing a little bit, because sometimes it's not too much. Sometimes it's like a donation of like pens and pencils to schools. Sometimes it's promoting a small action inside an orphanage. It can be something very small. But if all of us does, imagine like how many thousands of apps that we have in App Store today. If all of us did one initiative, you'd have been like a huge impact.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we want to be like, the ones incentivize people doing good. And we will try to always do our part in causes that close to our hearts that we can fulfill.
Yeah, and I think I was just following you guys on LinkedIn, and I think what one of my personal events was, I mean, as a kid, I always loved Christmas. One of our neighbors, they used to celebrate it, rum cakes and everything. So I've always loved the entire vibe, and especially I used to love going and talking to Santa, telling him about my dreams and all. And I just recently read, like, you guys also supported the the annual Santa charity run. I think that would have been an amazing eyesight, because there were over 500 Santas running on the street. So
Yeah.
that must have been a huge experience.
Yeah, and it's a family activity as well. So it's the kids get together, everyone gets together. There's like moms with the proms, and then super moms that runs with the proms, and it was lovely. And then we got out as well, and we had like the small Zapietousaurus and give some for the kids that was around. That was so excited. Yeah, it's just like energy building and community building for a moment of happiness on winter. That here like is dark, like 3:30, it's already dark. So people really like some people sometimes is really struggle with like being happy, like being cheerful, because it doesn't engage with, it's cold, it's raining, it doesn't engage with too many people. So I think it's just great to incentivize people to be together, and then on top of it raising money for cancer research. So very, very, very valuable thing.
No, absolutely, and it's just very inspiring, right? And that's what sets you apart. You are no longer a software or a SaaS company. You are literally part of your community's story, right? That's really cool. What I also learned just before we were about to connect, that you were recently featured on the Shopify Partners page also. I went, saw your case study and testimonial, everything. How did that happen, and what was the experience like?
I felt for me that was an Oscar because like I was like, specifically this year we celebrated 10 years that we founded Zapiet, 17 years that I have been built technology, and
Wow.
20 years that I've been onto the fashion industry. I had like 2 years ago being featured in Vogue, and for me that was like the Oscars of like my fashion side. And then I was still like was thinking like, oh, well, what's my Oscar of the tech side? Like I want to like feel this buzz, this recognition as well, because obviously it's something that we do with so much energy. We love solving problems. I think this is what's resumed to everything that we invent is the mascot, the solutions, the driven apps. Is because we love solving problems, we love creating. Yeah, when I was asked for to be featured, and it's never like in the beginning it's just like, oh, there is a possibility of this to happen, and then like I spent like the past like I don't know like 10 days anxious every single day to understand if that gonna really happen. And then it was such a delight when I ended seeing like my photograph there with the app icons, all the beautiful colors of Zapietousaurus, and obviously the testimony of us building. Yeah, it felt fantastic. Now I can feel like that I also have my Oscar Oscar of technology, because that is such an honor. We can like put into perspective again thousands of apps in the App Store, and myself as a founder, the leg of the female founder, because usually there's a lot of like spotlights for the male the male founders, and then I think these spotlights of like being given to me as well. I felt that was like this little cherry on top of the cake, and then I can't wait to still like, you know, people now are starting to come to me and then asking about it, and like, oh my god, that's so cool, I saw you there. And yeah, I can't wait to formally like sink in and then really celebrate, because definitely for me, the Oscar of technology, it's the recognition of the hard work that we did on being cheeky again, on adding mascots, on going to the conferences in a different way, because we want to be true to ourselves. I think this is the main thing, is not just because we're building technology that we should mirror certain brands, because they have their formula. I think we should like oversee to each of our companies, you know, it's okay to be your formula. Even if you are a tech company, you don't need to be over mechanic. You can be emotional, you can be yourself, you can be bold, you can be different. It's okay to be different. I grew up being different and then brought this to my company, is to let's be different too. Why not? If there's some, for sure there's people don't like dragon or don't understand it, has so many times as well we got, but I was just saying about like, you know, we grow up being different, and bring this difference to your own company, having this defined identity of what the company is and what kind of personality do you want to embrace, and then obviously find talent, build your team around people that like that same type of energy and identity. I think is the key of trying to solidify this image, this communication, this language that we try to create ourselves.
No, I think that's really amazing, and it's such a well-deserved recognition. You have been part of the ecosystem, I mean, 10 years strong, and have consistently raised the bar. So I think congratulations are due.
Thank
Also
you.
congratulations for completing 10 glorious years in the ecosystem.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm thrilled. This is all I can say. I'm so thrilled, and yeah, and I'm looking forward to, like, my mom said that she's going to print and put in a wall. And I was like, oh, that's so, I'm gonna absolutely do the same, because this is something that I think we ourselves, that I was busy so every time, it is making sure that you're also on a chore, but you also remember why you're doing this.
Right.
And, you know, like invitations to being podcasts, being speaker in events, being highlighted by Shopify itself, but also by different partners. It is the reward of our hard work, and then we need sometimes remind ourselves when we are like on the 16, 17 hours of work.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
it's totally worth it.
That always helps.
It does. It's fantastic.
What I truly love, Emily, is, I mean, you have literally managed to make a simple logistical app, not an app, but more of an emotion, right? Fun, community driven, and that's actually not easy. It takes effort. It takes a lot of forward thinking out of the box and everything. If I have to ask you, like, I completely understand, you guys are cheeky, you guys are forward thinking, you guys are super confident, and that's what actually comes into the overall marketing genius part of it. But if I have to ask you, like, what's your marketing philosophy like, and how can other app founders incorporate something similar in their own strategy to promote their app, to make it more of a emotion and not just another app on the 25,000 or 24,000 apps?
I think the first thing would be to have like the identity of your company very defined, and making sure that this is close to your heart. Because if you want your company to represent who you are, first of all, you need to know who you are. So there's backgrounds on, like, obviously myself, and then it has corporate background, coaching, therapy, tons of different things, because obviously us geeks are naturally communicative. It takes training. So I think this is something that I like a good advice to is, like, it takes a lot of your time and effort to try to be outgoing, and then try to, first of all, map this person or the company, how the company is, what's the personality, because your company needs to be a personality if you want to connect with people, if you don't want it just to be a transactional structure. Just click the button and download and everything is just flat. If you want to be in a different way, you then need to create this personality. See, your company has its own thing. It has its own soul. And then map the soul, understand how the soul communicates, give names to it. Because, sometimes I would feel silly when we were creating the mascot. I really wanted to be like a name that's easier for everyone to remember. Zapiet is very short. It's very easy to remember. And I'm like, you're going to create a name that's more complicated. But this is what he is. He's a Dino Dragonsaurus. He's a complex creature that came out of our imagination. It's okay if it's a complicated name and sometimes people don't know how to say it. Yeah. It's all good. But its own personality, because nobody changed your surname if it's complicated. See, back on like fashion history, Tom Hilfiger in the beginning, nobody could know how to spell, how to write. But look at how the phenomenon he turned into it, because there's nobody else with that surname. So I think it's mapping, creating all those that personality. Understanding that this is close to your heart. I think something that sometimes has ourselves, founders, we push ourselves back because we come across someone that's a specialist of communication, of design, and then come and tell you that, I don't know, just an example that, the dragon has nothing to do with what you guys doing, what you're doing this. I heard this so many times, even like companies advising to take him out of our imagery. And I was like, hey, no, because this is who we are. And I think we need to have guts to understand that's not all advice is good advice for you. I think people need to be true to themselves to create this strong identity. I think that's basically it. I don't think there's like a specific formula. It's trying to understand how your company wants to communicate, being fearless, because some people are going to criticize what you're doing, but it's okay. Who criticizes also giving you free exposure because they're talking about you, and then I guess this is what sometimes we want. Obviously, we want people to talk about you, about the positive side of everything that you do, but if they talk about us that they don't like the dragon, like many times in events, for example, we would take like the merchandise, what we do, like the socks and teddies, and people say like, but people would turn to me in my face and it's like, but what is this? And then, anger vibe, wrong attitude, but then after spending a few minutes speaking with us and then understanding why, and then start to liking it, and then like, okay, yeah, this is cool, the story is nice, and then it's like, is embracing your story. I think the key takeaway of it is to embrace your story, map your story, use this in a strategic way, and it's going to be painful because nothing that you want to do more, it's gonna require more time. Everything that you do extra, you're gonna require more time. And this is something that I think I became like in the latest years, like a more of a voice of advocating for developers to think about their communication, because there is a lot of very talented developers and talented products as well that people don't know how to address it. They don't do anything about it. They don't communicate well. They don't think how people are going to receive the information. And I've been trying to like push, for different companies, even like bigger companies than us, that people come for me for advice. I think this is something as well that I feel absolutely overwhelmed about it, is bigger companies, different founders from bigger companies sometimes coming for advice to understand how they can be a little bit more fearless. Because again, developers, engineers aren't naturally on the creative bubble, but I think I'm particularly lucky with my co-founder that both of us, we are both very creative, has incredibly methodic. We are not afraid of the 16 hours plus, and we are not afraid of learning, because you can have a great team, but I think for you also progress your company, you need to be a generalist. For us to bring the company where we are now, Zapiet, 150 countries, being plus certified, having all the structure that we have, we needed to both of us to be a little bit generalist, so then we could drive the team. So I needed to understand about how to code. I needed to understand about marketing. I needed to understand about design, UX. What I did is like I picked it up, all the experience that I had previously building Zapiet from the fashion industry, my connections, my suppliers, all of this techniques that I had before building Zapiet, and then infused on the operation in a way that, okay, this is also important. So I think is this, and then if you don't have all the skills that takes to understanding how to branch out your communication and making the architecture of it, you can definitely seek someone that has knowledge for doing this. And then that's why like I ended like being, founder, and then Andy ended staying with the more technical side, and I branched it out to the communication side, because then we have both of us, because Andy is also a very strong communicator. So again, back on like I keep saying that we're very like, I think we are very lucky on this side, but we ended branching out, but both of us speak about everything, the technical side, the product, building the products, from hiring to product roadmap, by tech stack, by everything. The both of us are with the mind, with full of our mind and skills in it. But again, I understand it's not all founders that has the branch of all the skills, communication skills, products, roadmap, or maybe the engineering side. But you can always seek for some advice for someone that eventually come to your company bits by bits, just trying to think from day one, how do I want to present myself? I have this awesome product, but, how does it look like? Can you see the icons? What's my language, when I write a blog? Who is the face of my company? How do people connect with it? I think it's very hard to explain your question, but I think I try to give a little overview of it.
No, I think that's really a great framework for anyone who kind of wants to carve their brand and add more of a personality. And personally, from my side, I love the dragon. I mean, the moment I saw it, I was like, wow, that's literally insane. And that was a time I haven't even spoken to you guys. The moment I landed here back in Pune and came back home, I was talking to my wife and I was like, I need a mascot for the SaaS Hub. I mean, I'm still
that'd be cool.
what not to do. But yeah, the two favorite mythical characters I always loved is a dragon and a wolf. A dragon is already taken now, but yeah, I'm still thinking about it. So yeah, I think that's just an amazing thing. Secondly, I have a question before we move to the next part of it. You mentioned you guys work with over 150 plus countries. With all those countries, with all these different regions, there are for sure regional nuances. Anything in particular that you would want to highlight when other app founders are working across time zones, multiple countries, multiple cultures?
Yeah, I think be aware of that. Even I can just give an example of English speaking countries and Spanish speaking countries. Terminologies in different places might be very different. And SEO that you are going to have a discoverability for your product. Make sure that you always check in what's the terminologies for the countries that you're going. Even if your product is built in English, it might be the terminologies, the main terminology that you're using for your product aren't the same in a different country.
Absolutely.
So I think the number one thing, so many people that don't think of that, and it's even feels like it's silly that I'm mentioning it, but it's so popular. But people don't think about this. Reviewing the terminologies for main functionalities and route discoverability of your products on different countries, even if they speak the same language. Make sure that the product is culturally relevant for how people are looking for it. And make sure that obviously the solutions are integrated with the local providers. Obviously, it was along with the years we developed our own internal APIs, because we understood that is so important. That would be we would see, for example, merchants changing platforms actually. For moving to Zapiet and coming to Shopify, because we would have an integration with a specific carrier, like a last mile delivery provider that just operate on that zones, because they're in a specific city, they don't have too much options in it. There's one carrier, so we would have merchants moving to Shopify to use Zapiet to specifically use those carriers. So this is an example that we can give. We have so many case studies about it, and I think for other app founders, keep their eye on how how those countries specifically operate if you really want to expand and cultural relevances.
Awesome. So let's move to the quickfire round before we wrap the entire
Sure.
session. I have 4 questions for you. Again, it's gonna be super fun, super simple. But yeah, if you need more time, you can definitely take. So
Sure.
first question, what's your favorite Shopify app, excluding Zapiet?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. Can I mention Shopify Sidekick?
You can.
Sidekick for now. Sidekick, I think I had like on the editions recently. I even said like I wish like we have Shopee and then Sidekick. It becomes its own like a little thing because it's just an impressive. I would say like kudos to all the Shopify team of how they made Sidekick to be so powerful for now both developers and merchants as well. I'm a very data-driven person, so I love anything that's to do with simplified data and queries on the database, and Sidekick now can do that.
Absolutely.
Just brilliant. I'm in love with Sidekick.
Same here, but a lot of app founders, I mean, they're kind of leaning into the other direction. And I run a small newsletter, which is a Shopify App Founders newsletter. And I mean, tomorrow, I mean, day after tomorrow, Wednesday, it drops every Wednesday. And I'm going to talk about the latest winter editions and the Sidekick and its ability to build apps and everything. So I think it's just going to be amazing. The next question I have you is going to be more challenging for you. It's very simple, but yet very challenging. What's one local business you personally love?
Ooh, local business.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna mention local to here to Laos. There is this very old shop that's called a cheese shop. What it's so incredibly old. You know, like this cheese is made like we are a Laos. It's in the region here of the UK that's northeast, that's called Lincolnshire, whereas basically most of it's farms and then has like amazing production of cheese and butter and everything. And I just love the way that they're still like so old school of like making the hampers, and then you can go buy the cheeses and they still wrapped on paper. Like I just absolutely love the way that they are like they keep so strong the tradition, and it's just the story is just absolutely amazing. So I think it's one of my favorite like local businesses here. It's how they kept like, you know, passing the dollar times but then still kept it old. It's literally an experience going there. I think anybody come ever to Laos, go to the cheese shop.
That's amazing. One creative idea you are super proud of. I'm sure there are a lot, but yeah. Thought so. And I'm
I
not.
think
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it is Zapietousaurus because obviously creating him in the first place was a challenge to try to explain him and then immerse him in our branding. But now we have him, we have the pink one, we creating a video game, coloring books, pajamas, everything, more colors. So I think I'm very, very, very proud because of the love that people show to the creation. Obviously, over the years, being like also fashion designer, I also signed collaborations with different brands. And I'm super proud as of the collaboration I signed with the Brazilian pop star Isa Buzzi, where it was a collaboration of was a drop that was like a merchandise for her Euro tour. It was a t-shirt, pair of socks, and a tote bag. And this collaboration actually healed my internal kid that was a bit bullied in school. When I arrived on one of the concerts, like her fans already knew me. What was shocked, because obviously I'm always behind the scenes, I'm always like behind the computer. And then when she was on the stage, then she like did like I didn't know that was going to happen. She then said like, and then thank you so much, Emily, for creating the merchandise and etc. And then all of a sudden, the entire hall of people that was on her concert starting to just like shout my name, Emily, Emily, Emily. And I was so emotional about it. And the internal kid of myself was healed by that point, because the last time that thing happened, it was for bullying. It wasn't for someone to celebrating me and my talent. So I think it's Zapietousaurus, but also this collaboration, this drop I did with Isa, because it healed my internal child, so much by receiving so much love from her fans that they were so happy that we did a special design for her tour. So the Portuguese fans, they were so thrilled that we had such a care to make something special for them. I think that's the two things that I'm incredibly proud of.
Wow, that's really heart-touching and absolutely an amazing memory for sure for you. I mean, thousands of people cheering your name. Wow.
It was crazy. I was like, who am I? But I was like, yeah, it was so nice. And then after they wanted me to sign that t-shirt as well. And then it was like, obviously, a pop star, signature, and then me. And then I was like, what's going on? But yeah, so thrilled by love.
Awesome. Now the last question. I for sure now know the answer to this, but before the session, I was kind of just expecting something similar. But what's the next adventure for Zapietousaurus?
The next adventure, it's its own store. So we are obviously moving to the side of our products that is also very fulfilling for us. That is obviously having the physical products. We are on merchandise development right now for pajamas, more colors, more versions of him, and the video game coloring books. This is his next adventure is like a flying solo adventure. He's going to also carry on being our lovely mascot, but also becoming more accessible for who also absolutely love him. So I can't wait to see him.
Storybooks too. I think kids
yeah, like coloring books, storybooks, the video game, the cartoon that we is currently writing the stories as well, writing the tales, and his tales are going to be tales attached with the tech word, but also with going back to timing. So you're gonna have a lot of time traveling, and what we want with him now is for him to be a good reference for kids as well as growing up. So being supportive and also for incentivize kids to learn about technology, but in a positive way, about cryptography, reading books, creating things based on things that you can touch. So I think this is like a very big mission. And I have a little niece that she's 3 years old, and she's already asked me, when am I going to see Zapietousaurus in the theater? So I guess we're gonna need to make a musical as well, because she asked for it. So I'm excited. I'm so excited. 2026, it's looking very exciting for us. And and I can't wait for all the product releases.
Now that's just gonna be an awesome journey from fashion to tech and tech to building your own merchandising brand to producing a full-fledged musical.
Yeah, I would be crazy. The day that we come out with is going to be like, oh my God, I didn't know this is going to be a full circle journey where, I'm either on technology for fashion or I am on just technology. So now everything, it's talking to each other. And I guess like the internal heart of professional fulfillment, you be completed because we managed to create an engine that everything meets. So it's so exciting.
Awesome. Now, before we wrap this up, do you have any 2 cents for all those Shopify app founders, merchants also, and also how they could reach out if in case they would want to get in touch with to try out Zapiet or maybe just get some advice?
Yeah, well, we have if you just visit our website, we have a chat there. That's a direct chat with us that you can speak with one of our amazing support agents, or literally dropping message anywhere. We always open to respond, even for other founders as well that wish to collaborate with Zapiet on co-marketing for 2026. For example, we are planning our playbook, and we're gonna have a lot of different opportunities. So just dropping me a message on LinkedIn, X. We usually try to be very engaging everywhere, and then to getting to know more about Zapiet throughout our social media. We have an Instagram account that we try to be very fun with it, so you can see a lot of our personality on Instagram, but then visiting Zapiet.com as well to getting to know a lot of different details about our apps or case studies, and you can drop us a message directly there on the chat, and can just chat with us, learn more, how can we help? Because we always try to, sometimes merchants come with problems and we are very open for advising. We don't just like push the merchants to uniquely use our solution, but also we try to be a focus of advice, because maybe that merchant that is coming for the first time, crossing paths with Zapiet, they might not need our app now, but maybe entrepreneurs are always on entrepreneur bubble, so they all recommend to someone else or talking about us. It's ours to be open to making sure that doesn't matter the connection that you make, in the future it can come back as a positive thing for you.
Absolutely, Emily. That was such a fun conversation, and it's always great when a podcast reminds us that behind every great app, there's a story, there's a vision, and there's a team that truly cares about merchants and the ecosystem. So huge thanks to you, Emily, for joining us today and sharing how Zapiet has built one of the most loved local commerce apps on Shopify, and for showing us that creativity, community, and customer care go hand in hand.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure. And then obviously it's so incredible now that we can carry on extending this energy of how you guys welcome us in India. It was so fabulous. You know, like forever grateful for the Foxtel team for introduction to Indian culture and bring us to India actually. So yeah, I'm looking forward of what else can we do and contribute.
Awesome. And to everyone listening, if you're a Shopify merchant offering store pickup or delivery, definitely check out Zapiet Pickup and Delivery app on the App Store. I'll have all the details in the episode show notes so that you can quickly go and check it out. And before we wrap, a quick note about the SaaS Hub. If you're a Shopify app founder, head over to the SaaSHub.com and submit your app for vetting and curation. We help feature the top 10 apps in every category, so more merchants can discover your app easily and seamlessly. And if you're a Shopify merchant, check out our Merchant Central. It's full of CRO playbooks, growth tips, guides, where you can also look at exclusive partner discounts, where we help you negotiate better pricing for your Shopify app stack. We are building a platform that connects the best tools, the brightest founders, and the most ambitious merchants in the Shopify ecosystem, and we would love for you to be a part of it. I'm Yuvraj Kevte, your host, and this was another episode of the Shopify App Founders Edition, Season 1. Talk to you soon. Signing out. Bye.
Bye.